Hello and welcome to the Tarkis Zone. Thank you for joining me. We're going to be playing the game Black Desert Online today, and really this video is going to be covering a couple topics, but the main topic is I moved my house. And I want to show you where my old house was. If you watched any of my other videos, you knew where it was. It was right across from this tavern right here. But what I also noticed by having that house, it was very convenient to be able just to go in there and cook and then just go across the street for the tavern to get the rest of the supplies I needed. But what I noticed was I was giving up for this spot. I was giving up 2 laborers because it was a residence, and by me giving up the residence I was able to put 2 more workers in the field. So to me that was important because I want all my workers to come out of Heidel now. I typically don't use any of the workers in any of the other cities. I pretty much have got all my production out of Heidel. They run the gamut to wherever I want them to go and they come back and it works for me. So I want to show you where my new house is. Alright. I just went up the street here. I needed something bigger too because I started a workshop, a furniture workshop. So when you go, you're in Heidel here, right? And you get to this wagon. I live in the house that's next to this wagon. It's got this little flag here on the side. But I mean, in perspective, it's close to the marketplace, which is cool. But it is definitely farther from the tavern. All right, let's go inside. I'll show it to you. So I've just been playing around with some of the decor I already had. So I'm starting to put it together. Those candlesticks. What was interesting is I created a furniture shop in Calpheon. And what I decided to do is I was going to buy all the ingredients and make these fancy candles. Well, guess what? You can't sell them on the auction house. So I'm either stuck selling them to a vendor, just an NPC vendor, or I'm stuck keeping them. Well, it doesn't hurt to keep them because they give me points to my house, and they do look pretty cool. I've got a few upstairs. But yeah, I was like, okay, I bought all these ingredients, and I was going to see if I can make some money selling these candlesticks. Well, like I said, you can't really sell them only to a vendor, an NPC vendor, and you get less for them doing it that way than the ingredients it took you to make them. So what I did is I had my furniture guy make as many as he could for the ingredients I bought. So now I have a whole bunch of these candlesticks. You can see it right there. You know, they're everywhere. You know, I got them everywhere. And they add points to my house, so that's cool. You know, I get them everywhere. But they're just not sellable. So they ended up in my house. But yeah, this house is pretty cool, huh? I mean, it's 2 stories like my other house. It's a little bigger than my other house. It conforms a little bit better to the design, and what's great about it is I can just bring a cooking utensil in this main area and drop it right here while I'm using it to make the beer that I need to make, or I might even do something here. I mean, I'm just playing around. What I did is I just grabbed everything from my house and brought it down here to this house, and I did it quickly so that I could get those 2 lodging spots. So this is what I came up with when throwing this together. All right. Well, let's go outside here. And I also wanted to answer a couple questions that people had in regards to what I was currently selling on the marketplace. What was still making money. You know, stuff that would sell quickly. I'm just going to run to the warehouse here so that I can show you items that I have that I know that will sell for you. Because, you know, as people get to the thing is they'll invest in a node, they'll think that item is worthwhile, and then they'll put it on the marketplace and it never will sell. Well, that means they got a product that nobody ever wants, and that product you have to go to the vendor and just try to dump it. Or maybe one day it'll be worth something. You know, no, that's why I try to pack rat everything now. I don't really go and do mass sellings anymore. Like, you know, like cedar. Okay, this is one item that will make you money in this game. And there's 2 cedar nodes in the game that I farm. I have one guy that runs all the way almost a Calpheon to get a cedar node, and then I've got another cedar node in I think that village is called Trent. I haven't been there so long. It's way. Whoop. Okay, there we go. The game's slowing down here for me. Here we go. Yeah. So I've got one guy that works this cedar node here. What I do is I just click here and I just transport the cedar to Calpheon, and then from Calpheon I will transport it to Heidel. And this is really easy to do. And it is worth it, because what I found with cedar is it always sells, and it sells at the plywood, it sells at the plywood level pretty good. So let's just go back to the marketplace here, or I'll go to my warehouse and then to the marketplace. Let's see if I have any cedar. Now I got cedar planks. I don't have any of the plywood because I've sold it. So what I typically will do, if I have some extra time, I will take the cedar and get it all the way up to plywood, and then the plywood always sells. It's like a guaranteed to sell. So if you're looking into the planks sell pretty good too. Let me go to marketplace here so I can just click on the planks. Remember, this is a tier 2 component of this. So for a tier 2 component, that's 2,000 per. That's not bad at all. And I think the plywood goes for like 6 or maybe 7,000. So it's definitely worth doing, and it will score you processing levels while you're grinding through it, and you will also get money for it. The other item that sells guaranteed is going to be your steel. And I have other videos on how to make that, the nodes that you need to get that. And, hopefully you saw those videos, but steel always sells. But if you're doing the workshops trying to make the reform gems, you're going to need all the steel that you can get. So you won't be selling it if you're doing that. But if you're just starting out and you can just grind steel, that will get you quite a bit of money, because that always sells, and they'll sell for 6,000 each. That's 6,000 silver. The other thing that I've always found that ash timber sells, and it always sells at its rawest component, meaning tier 1. So I would just slap it on just like this, and you're not going to get much for it. I think it usually goes for maybe 300. Yeah, I haven't sold this in so long, so I was just guessing at that. But yeah, here we are, about 300. But the thing about it is it sells. It always sells, and so it's like you got a worker doing it, and if you're using that worker to go get the ash timber, you can level that worker up until he gets to artisan, and then you can put him up onto the auction to sell that worker and just start the process over again. And that's what I've done a couple times. So he's also that worker's bringing you the ash that you're selling, like I just showed you, plus you'll be able to sell that worker later on after you level them up a little bit. Okay, what else do we got that always goes out in the marketplace? We know that stone powder, or black stone powder, always goes. That's here, black stone powder. That always sells. So I've got videos on that. I won't get into that. Now I've also found out recently that the raw components of flax and cotton will sell, and that's these tier 1. So don't grind it into the yarn. And definitely don't grind it into the fabric. It seems like the fabric would never sells. But if you sell these 2 items, and I believe these 2 items sell at the raw components, is because people are trying to grind their processing. And this is the lightest one, so you can fill your inventory for like 2,000 of these, and then go away for an hour and have yourself, process for that hour just these components. And I think that's why they sell pretty good still. Oh, see, I still got candlesticks. I think my guy's finally gone through. Yeah, he's gone through all the pork, because pork was needed to make the candlesticks, so here they are. So the water, purified water, always sells. You're always going to get that. And that's just easy as going to the river and using these empty bottles, collect the water. Then you're going to have the bottle of river water. Then you process that into the purified water, and that always sells. So if I went to marketplace here and clicked on this water, it's 1,400. Actually, that's very low, because if you hit the max button here, I'm going to do that. 1,700 is normally where I sell it, and if I hit the min button, that seems to be where it's at, and that makes sense for this time of day. So just when it comes to selling the water, Just wait until it gets back up to 1700, and that will make you some money. And that's just converting your energy into money. That's all what that is about, because it costs you energy to gather the water, but it costs you no energy to process it. So you can get it. You're transferring your energy just into silver. And that's what I like to do with that process, especially if I'm just going around just trying to burn. And if I'm like, I know I got to go do something, do the laundry, do the dishes or whatever, and I just want to burn some energy, I'll just walk up to the river. I'm going to show you. I know I didn't want this video to be a how-to video, but I'm just going to show you real quick. So it's just as easy as going to the river here and then clicking on the bottle, the empty bottle. And see, you'll notice that I'm starting to gather. And I will gather until I'm out of bottles or I'm out of energy. So it's a good way to just transform your energy into silver, because I'm going to take this byproduct that I'm collecting and process it up to that distilled water, which gives me that 1700 per. And if your process is pretty cool, good, you could RNG just one of these. That's like a 1-to-4, maybe a 1-to-5 ratio. So one of these, I got two of them now. So you're looking at leaps and bounds more money from it if your processing is as high as mine. But your processing will get there, and you'll be able to take advantage of the RNG, the good RNG from the water. So that always sells, guaranteed, because it's used in pretty much anything that you make in this game. It's in high demand, and the byproduct of making the purified water is the other item that I wanted to talk about, is the gold bars. Gold bars have their ups and downs, but they always sell. Now, if you go, I call them gold bars, but this game calls them gold ingot. Yeah, that's how I believe how the English say that. But that's always selling. And if you go to Marketplace and go to click on that and go to max, you can sell 5 at a time. Look at that. I mean, 300,000 is, and that's just a byproduct of making the water. Because what you do is when you're creating the water in the processing, you're getting these. This is what they call this. It's the flakes, or the tier 1 component. So you melt this, and that gives you the tier 2, which is the melted gold shards, and then you process those into the bars, which is the tier 3 part of it. But you can see, you make some money doing that, and that's just the byproduct. This is the RNG part of that process. Okay, the other thing that I found that is selling well are these armor sets that I've been making, and I have another video on how I'm making that. And if you have questions where that video is after seeing this video, I can link it in a comment section. Well, look at this. I'll hit Marketplace here. Look at these guys. And I don't have to do nothing. And there's no way I'm putting that much money into making these. I mean, it's silly on how well these suits are selling for. Now I got a plus 13 right here ready to be slept onto the Marketplace, but I want to get the plus 15, and I'll do it in the next few minutes after this video. I'll get this to plus 15, and I mean, at this point, at plus 13, what's it selling for? 12 million. So just imagine what I'm going to get for it at plus 15. And I'm not really putting that much into it, because again, the components, basically if I sell 4 of these sets, it pays for all the components to get this up to 15 easily. Okay, so that was those suits, and obviously these weapon stones and the armor stones are still selling well. You got to have the factories for those. Those are a guaranteed sell. Beer is selling, but it's selling real cheap nowadays. But it always sells. I mean, if you want to process or make beer, oh man, that's just terrible. That's a terrible price. Like if I hit max on that, even 1,200 is terrible. I mean, it's really come down, but you'll sell it. So I stopped selling it. I haven't sold beer in probably 3 weeks. But if you're just starting out and you just need to get beer for your workers and you want to sell your surplus, as you can see, what you'll get. Let me go back into that and click on the beer, and I'm just going to be selling it for this example. So I can do 500 at a time, and at its current value, that's still $500,000, right? And I'm calling that cheap. But I remember I used to get like 800,000 for them. But yeah, I'll post them up there, why not, but they'll always, that will sell, guaranteed. Let's go through real quickly on anything else that I might have that is guaranteed. And please, if you see, if I haven't covered something, add to the comments that, oh, Tarkis, this also sells really well, and that will be helpful. Now, the melted iron shards, those are a big seller because they're pretty much used for quite a bit of items in this game. You'll need to process them from the iron ore, which I've got here. So process the iron ore, that gets you into the melted. And then if you go to Marketplace and click on the melted, you'll see what you'll get for that. Oh, wow, that's cheap right now because, yeah, that's cheap. But you're going to know it will sell. Let's see what the max value is. Yeah, 1,400 is what I thought it was. So wait to sell that. Get as much as you can for it. But for what the time you put into that and what you get out of that, I mean, if I had confirmed that, that's almost 800,000 for selling those. So, and they always sell. And I'm not going to sell mine because those to me are crucial for me to make my steel. So I'm not going to sell those because I use that to make the steel. Weapon stones. I've got a couple weapon stone factories, and those weapon stone factories cost me like nothing to run. So I'm getting weapon stones all the time, and I don't use them for anything because I don't make weapons. I only make armor and armors. That's why I'm down to 39 of the armors. I'll get more of those shortly. I just got to buy the components. I got a couple shops making those also. But these do sell the weapons. So if you went to Marketplace and you clicked on here, it allows you to sell 100 at a time. If I wanted to sell those 100, that's 24 million if I wanted to sell those. But I don't really need to. So I'm going to hold on to it because what I've been doing is I've been holding on to these. Actually, the reason why I'm down to 32 is like I just made 33 of these. So these are the concentrated ones. So there's 33 concentrated. So I had a couple hundred earlier. So every time I get enough, I make the concentrated. So I got 20 of the weapons. Well, look at what those sell for. Let me show you what those sell for. Look at that, 74 million for those 33 that I made this morning. And there's no way I put anywhere close to that much money into getting those weapon stones. None. I have factories that are doing it. I just go to the marketplace, buy the ingredients I need. I have the factories make them. This morning I just crushed them together. Now, you're going to need 2 items to get those together. And one of the items I think I still have in my inventory is right here. So I'm down to one of those, and I've used the weapon ones already. So I will have to go out and grind those. And you get those from gathering. And that's not water gathering. You actually have to go out and gather. So what I've been doing is going and killing the lizards to get my tough hide or my fine hard hide that I need to make these weapon sets or these armor sets. So I need, as you can, if I went to the factory, you would see that I need fine hard hide to make these. So when I go get to lizards to do that, that's when this and its counterpart, one's for armor, one's for weapon, and I get them abundantly. I get them all the time. I may get two, 3 an hour, and that was able. Then I'm able to make these. And what I've decided now, I used to sell these. I'm going to start collecting them because one day I'm going to want to just push an item to whatever I need to push it to get it done. It's not. People tell me, I'm at a couple billion. I got 2 billion silver. Oh, it's nothing. You can't get nothing in this game for that. Well, you're right. I probably can't just buy the item, but I'm sure know that when I go to push an item, I will still have this core element and everything I need to do it. I mean, it's so easy to get these things in the game. I mean, I guess the hardest part to the concentrated thing is the gathering. Getting that RNG drop. But again, if you get your gathering up, do the water gathering I'm suggesting to make the water, and then you get your gathering up and then go out and kill lizards or small, big packs of animals and just skin them or do something to them. I mean, that's the easiest way of doing it because you can, with one swing, kill 4 foxes, skin those 4 foxes. You got you got an RNG chance for this drop for every one of those foxes you're skinning or doing whatever. So that's why it's important to go out and gather and get those. Or you can try to buy these and its counterpart off the auction house, but they're very expensive. And I don't like to buy anything unless it makes me guaranteed money. And because I'm going to be holding on to the ones I've talked about to make a weapon and some armor pretty soon, it's not going to make me money in the short term. Okay, did I think I covered everything? There was another user that asked me about a mask that I wear, and I believe it's this scarecrow mask. I wanted to tell I want to tell everybody out there that that the mask, which I have on, but it's not showing. I gotta hit that. This mask I got during the Halloween holiday event. You had to do a couple quests, and this was the gift for doing those quests. You have to wait till next year to get them. Yeah, sorry, but it is pretty cool. I call it my peepers hat. If I want to go around into people's houses, I'll wear my peepers hat. Well, I hope I covered what I wanted to cover and answered some questions that people had for me. And I really appreciate you joining me today. This has been the Tarkis Zone.